Hi, fellow traders. What's happening? I hope you guys had a great week. We had an awesome week this week. Finally, the market is starting to give us the volatility, give us the moves that we've been looking for since the middle of October when earnings season kicked off. It's, it was a little delayed, but we just had to stay patient, stay focused, and not go in and start changing this and changing that and running here and running there. We stick to what we know. And I've been through this many times where the market just kind of goes away and then it comes back. It goes in cycles. And the way to withstand this, the way to weather the storms, is to be consistent. Don't change what you do. Yeah, you're going to get mad. You're going to get pissed off. You're going to get aggravated. But no matter what, stay consistent. Don't change who you are through the storm, because it will not last forever. And when you get through going through the little bit of pain you go through, you're going to have success on the other side. But if you quit, you're going to feel that pain forever. So we don't want to quit in the middle of a storm. No, if anything, we just need to see our way through it. Now, this big word is flashing in front of your eyes right now: fear. Fear in trading is the greatest enemy to us. Fear will paralyze us. It will paralyze us to where we can't get in trades. It will paralyze us to where we can't get out of trades. We won't take trades off when we're supposed to. It will paralyze us to where we're just acting out of revenge or just to be doing something. I mean, fear will cause us to do all kind of things. And the reality is it comes from one big fear. All of the issues that we experience as a trader, we can trace it back to one core fear, and that's the fear of losing money. And the thing is, since birth, we were taught to save money, conserve money, respect money. We don't waste our money. We hold it close. We save it, we protect it. And when we come into trading with that mindset, it is devastating. It creates fear because we're always scared we're going to lose. And that will keep us from taking a trade because we're scared we're going to lose on the trade. It'll keep us from taking our trade off because we're scared we're going to lose too much money. We just leave it on until it comes back. It does a lot of damage. So that's one of the big things that we have to work on when you first come into this trading. It's crazy. And I know some people think they can get around this fear by just copying somebody. Like if somebody was in my room and they won't go in a trade until I go in, and then they're just going to follow whatever I do, fear will creep in. Well, fear is already there. And fear is going to cause you to take it off before I take it off. Fear is going to cause you to leave it on sometimes when I take it off. You'd be surprised. So the first thing you have to do, the first thing to combat this fear, number one, you have to accept it and admit the fact that it's there. And it's there by human nature. Now, some of us might have been brought up to just the opposite, where money is just something we spend and we can't take it with us, so let's just spend it and enjoy it. And that's fine. But if you're like 99% of us, we've been taught just the opposite. So we have to accept that fact that, hey, our mindset and who we are right now may not be conducive to us being a trader. So we have to work on that. So the first thing we have to do is learn how to plan our trades and come up with the strategy that we're confident in. And if we have a strategy that we're confident in, and we have a plan to execute that strategy, we're going to have the confidence that this trade is more likely to work than not. So that's the first step. And then once you take that trade, whatever you risk on that trade, if you're risking $250 on the trade, saying, okay, this is all I can risk. This is all I can stand to see whether this trade is going to work or not. Once you get in that trade, that money's gone. You detach yourself from that money. As far as you're concerned, that $250 is gone. And now all you doing, you paid $250 to play this game, is basically how you want to think about it. And all you do is sit back and wait to see if it hits your stop or hits your target. It's got to hit your targets that you put in your trade plan. You got to stop, and you got profit targets. And you just sit back and wait. To win the game, you have to execute at 100%, meaning you either have to let it hit your target, your stop, or hit your profit target. That's it. Now, as you gain experience and more screen time, and you're able to really read and understand and decipher price action, then you're going to have more autonomy in your trades. But in the beginning, you have to be a little bit more mechanical. And you have to be able, and you have to defeat this fear. And you have to put it in its place. So, I know there's other things that you can do. I don't really have time to go over all of them, but these are the first two things that I try to get people to understand and to help them change what they're doing. If you have trouble with your stop, it's probably fear. You're scared to lose money. It could be because of the way you're brought up, or it could be because all of your friends and your family are laughing at you saying you're going to lose your damn money, and you don't want that to happen. And you're scared as to what might happen if you go to them and tell them, hey, I lost all my money. That fear is going to cause you to lose all your money. So just wanted to share that with you because it's one of the biggest issues that I deal with, that I work with new traders, and kind of the questions I get a lot has to deal with this fear, just the fear of losing money. All right, so let's take a look at our day here. Now there were two stocks that I zoomed in on. I think I had TDC, GDOT, GPS, BIDU, and DIS. So as we got closer to the open, I started focusing more on BIDU and DIS because I saw more potential there. And it's not that they were, the $100 stocks, and these other ones were lower price stocks. It's just that these showed me the best opportunities. Now, Roku didn't make the watch list today because it didn't have the gap this morning. Now, it had the volume, but it didn't have the gap. And I think it did set up to give a nice trade. I'm not sure. I didn't even watch it, to be honest with you. It may or may not have given a good trade. It didn't have a gap, so I wouldn't have expected it to give you a really good opening range trade. But honestly, I didn't even look at it today. I actually put something else in place of it since it wasn't in play today. But I looked at DIS, and DIS looked good, but I liked it to the long side. I knew there were a lot of support in through here, and I felt that with this gap up, even though we had this gap up, we may get a little pullback, but that we should break through 140, and 143 would have been my target today on this. But coming into the open, it just did not look good. And, I started looking at BIDU, and you could look at this chart and see that, let me bring this down because it's off center a little bit. All right, so you could see we were gapping up into this huge gap here. And the only thing in this gap was this little stray candle. All right. And I didn't even think that this level here would give us any resistance at all. I just felt this was an abandoned baby sitting in the middle of this big old ocean. And I honestly believe we could have got to the 200 today. That's what I was looking for. And that's what I was expecting out of this stock. And that's why I chose BIDU to be my number one focus over all of the other stocks. Now, yeah, I did have them on watch. If this one didn't set up, I was going around and doing what I do the first 5 minutes, looking and trying to find the one that's the closest to set up. So we did trade BIDU, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. But you can see what happened with this DIS chart. I didn't like it short. And even though it did give us a good move here, but look, it wasn't until after 12 o'clock that you might, and even then, it didn't really get all the way down. This was not a really good trader today. I mean, it wasn't. You could have traded this rejection here, but this was a chopped up mess today for opening range. So honestly, I didn't really like it. I liked it long over the pre-market high, looking for 143, but it didn't even show signs of setting up like that. So we chose BIDU, and BIDU was gapping up, breaking over the pre-market high, just like I wanted DIS to do, but this one followed suit. Now, obviously, I do like shorts better than I like longs because the short trades can give bigger moves, and it's easier for a stock to go down than to go up. And I had a little frustration at first dealing with this because of the way it was trading. But I got in a textbook entry. Here's the 5-minute opening range high. I waited until we broke the pre-market high before I got in. I know it was like 50 cents here, and I could have got in, and if it failed, take it off, no harm, no foul. But I wanted to be patient, and I wanted to get in to where I was able to really manage my risk well. And you can see I got in, we had all of this support up under it. Even though it took a while for it to start making its move, I got my first target, and we tried to push up, and then somebody who's going to remain nameless, because I will not give the attention to that person, tweeted some crazy stuff out. The market, dumped 1 or 2 candles. It sold off hard. And I think that hurt my trade, because right when it came out, that's when this thing started having trouble. Might have been a coincidence, but I'm going to blame it on that guy. So it pulled back, and I stopped out because I didn't know if this was going to keep going, if the market was going to roll over. Had no idea what it was going to do. But even if I had left it on, it would have stopped me out at break even anyway. So I just was able to lock in a little bit more profit here. And then once we had the definitive bounce, once it broke the high of this candle, I got in, took profit at, 126, and got on up to 127. So, you know, a little over 127.05. So that was good. You know, I left some in the tank because, you know, I was looking for the 200 on the daily, which was around 131. So I was thinking we could have gotten up there in any good pullbacks. As long as we were holding levels, I was going to add back and keep trying to work this up. But this is the bottom of that stray candle that I showed you on the daily chart. This is the bottom of it. And you could see we pushed up, we rejected here. We tried to push up through this. We could not close above this level. This turned into hella resistance. And obviously I had to take it off. And so I took it off once we broke the 9 here. Everything was looking weak. It was time to take it off. And I did. Now, I'm not going to short into all of this. I'm just not going to do it. But I had enough room between the VWAP here and the 50 to where if it hung up here, I could take it off and still make, $100, $200. So I got in here under the VWAP, and this thing ran so fast through the 50, I was like, shoot, I might make it all the way down. So I'm waiting to get through 124 to take half off, and then the rest we were going to hit at the 100 moving average here. But it looked like it was starting to turn. You could feel the momentum start to shift. And I just took profit here. I didn't even wait to see if it was going to come back and retest. I took profit here, and then the next candle went right up and stopped me out. And then this thing started grinding. And so once we closed above the 20, the VWAP, the 9, closed above it, the next candle opened, and we made a new high relative to this candle. That's my trigger. That's my confirmation. And it just confirmed that I got screwed, because this was a nice fake out. This is one of the nicer fake outs you can see, because it actually confirmed and it faked me out. So we pulled back here, had a higher low bounce, bounced up, but then we made a lower high. And then once we lost the 50, I went ahead and took it off. And on this next candle, I said if it was going to make a new low, I was going to short it under that low. And I did. I grabbed it short and took profit here. And it ended up working its way back and stopping me out at break even. So technically, after lunch, I pretty much, matter of fact, let me show you this. Let me show you this. 1 second. I got it. I promise you I got it. All right, this is after the morning. This is the morning trade. Okay. And I pretty much closed it out. And not, without thinking, I went ahead and just logged everything in. But I'm glad I did, because I can show you just the effects of trading after lunch when the market is just not there. When there's no volume, no volatility, this is what happens. So with all of these trades, I had locked in 867.51. With all of these trades, I only made, $30 through all of this. Through this trade. Through this stop out. Through this trade. All I brought was another $30-some. That's it. So that's why a lot of people and a lot of us will tell you there's certain times where you just don't trade. And I always say, outside of breaking news, I probably won't take a trade. But I was kind of, feeling happy from yesterday and thinking, okay, well, if this is going to lose it, I've got nice profit targets here. And as we work through these, I can just be booking more profit. Or if it gets stuck, I can just take what it's giving me and wait. But it just traded in a range the rest of the day. You can see between 124 and just over 125, it traded in that point range the rest of the day. Unless you're a scalper and you could trade this with a couple thousand shares, it just didn't make sense. And I'm not trading it like that. So, this whole time, all I did was make just over 30 bucks. All right. Now, we did get a breaking news trade. FGEN. Now this thing halted. And again, this is a strategy that I teach. There is a class in the day trading class dealing with breaking news. The only problem is we only get this once every blue moon. You can't trade every breaking news announcement, because a lot of times it'll make the move and then it'll quit. Now, the difference on a halt is once the stock's halted, if it gaps up like this, what do you think everybody's going to do? What are all the inexperienced traders going to do if this stock gaps up? Now, I guarantee you there was a ton of people who knew this was coming and loaded up. And they were ready to sell once this gapped up. So new traders are just going to buy, because what are they programmed to do? They look at this like these small cap stocks that halt and just keep running up and halt and running up and halt. This is not what this is. So I knew this was going to come back, or it had a really good opportunity to come back. This thing opened up here, it ran up, and it got slapped back down. Normally, I like to wait for the second 5-minute candle, but this thing was screaming. So I switched over to the 2-minute, and I got in using the 2-minute candle and using the open after the opening price after the halt as my stop. Now, the tricky part to this was getting in because it was on SSR. So trying to short this on SSR on a stock that I know is going to wash out was really difficult. My max chase was $44. I was trying to get in around 45, but my max chase was going to be 44, and I barely got in before I lost that. And you could see, this is a different account. This is my IB account that I use to swing trade in a lot. You can tell these things. The one issue I have with IB and why I don't really day trade with it that much is because the way it feels. Now, I know I probably can choose a different route and make it work faster, but I don't use it as much to be able to do that. And then I just mainly do a lot of swings and all-day holds in this account. So that was the thing here, because you can see it filled 100 shares at 14.33, and then a minute later it started filling me again because it ran away from me and then it came back. So I did get some positive slippage here. It did fill these at 44.15 versus the 44.11 that I had already out there, which was good. And when I was taking profit, kind of the same thing. I took half off, it filled it, and then here's my last fill. It ran out of the 42 orders it filled me at 41.90. So actually a good 10 cent slippage here to the good side. You don't normally see that, but that's what it was. And I had my first target at 42, which was right around this the 100 period, the 100-day moving average. This is from the daily. This is the daily 200. But that was my first target. Second target was 40. And you guys, got to see how this thing is work. It tried to push back up, but we never made a higher high, and we just had inside candles. So we were making lower lows, and we were making lower highs and slightly higher lows, but we were trading inside candles. To me, this was still bearish. So I felt pretty good about it getting to 40. It did. It came down, almost tapped the VWAP, and then we bounced. These typically, when you get a big move like this, what you're trading is the overreaction. When we're trading earnings, we're trading the overreaction to people on earnings. On breaking news, we're trading the overreaction because it's the emotions that actually move the market. People are emotional. So the people that were buying this, they got up to a certain point. Some of them started to sell, but you had people buying up here still, and the big guys were selling into their orders. So what do we want to do? We want to get on the side that the big guys are on. So that was my thought process. Now, what am I right? Who knows? I don't know what these big guys are thinking. I can only speculate based on what I see. And unless you're sitting right next to them and they're telling you, hey, Ed, this is what I'm going to do, so be ready, you really don't know. You just have to read what's going on. And that's what I saw. I saw people buying up, and I was like, oh, yeah, here we go. I'm going to catch this short when it comes back. And it came screaming back. And I know people were scared shitless who bought, thinking that, hey, this was going to keep running. And it had some really nice hard sell-offs. But we don't see this that often. When it happens, I try to take advantage of it. I think the last one we tried to trade 2 or 3 months ago didn't really work. It kind of got stuck and didn't really give us a big move. But this one worked out great. Only traded 1,000 shares of this. It's a $40 stock. I was able to trade 1,000 shares. And, that's about the max. 1,500 shares is about the max I'll trade. But this is a $40 stock. I can go 1,000 with it. $100 stocks, I can go, 500 shares if it's a lower $100 stock. So that's in my range here. So really not trading any massive size, but, making pretty decent money. So we're not risking a whole lot, and we're making even more. And that's what this trading game is all about. Now, when the market is not working with you, obviously, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm just going to be making peanuts, but I'm not giving money back. I'm still putting a little bit of money in my account here and there. That's the name of the game. All right, guys, so that's going to do it. I will do a video later in the weekend to kind of wrap up my week. I know, and kind of go through some of the trades that I have. A lot of these this week really were the same trades, the same setup. I traded them the exact same way that I trade in a small account. Only difference is we have more size. and only by a few hundred shares. So I'm glad, I guess I'm glad that I'm getting this opportunity to show you that, hey, you can you trade the same way, the same strategy. You add a little bit of size. You don't have to add a whole lot of size, and you can make decent money. Now, for the week, like I said, I'm going to go over everything. All of these trades were taken in chat, with the exception of Wednesday. This is me covering that 250 shares that I had left from the Shaq earnings trade the day before. So on Tuesday's recap, you'll see that trade. And all I had Wednesday was a target because I was out Wednesday. I had to go out of town to the doctor. And and that's all we did on Wednesday. And then we had the nice day on Thursday. But we'll go back through all of those trades. But all of them you guys got to see in chat live. And this one was streamed, this day was streamed live on YouTube. So you guys got to see exactly what it looks like in our chat. But if you just add up what I did in Speed Trader, 49.35.61 is where we ended up this week. But if I add the IB trade we did today on the news halt, 72.93.53 is what we ended the week with. No stress. Yeah, I fussed a little bit. Tuesday was a really messed up day. You know, had it not been for a good earnings trade, it wouldn't have been a good day Tuesday. But the trading day is all day long. You could do bad in the morning and do really good in the evening, or you can do bad do good in the morning and bad in the evening, or you can do good both, or you can do bad both. But you got to look at the trading day as a whole. There's opportunity if it presents itself. You can't force it. If it's not there, you can't take it. If it's there, take advantage of it. And, you know, that's our philosophy. So just look for on Sunday, I'm going to kind of recap and go back through most of these trades, the winners, the losers, and make sure you guys really understand our philosophy. All right, so you guys have a great night, great weekend, and I will see some of you on Sunday morning. The rest of you I will see on Monday.